Hey everybody, welcome back to Bleep Bloop episode 11. It is Friday, February 9th, and we are talking all things Xbox, or may or may not be Xbox in the future. As always, now I can officially say, joined by Kyle again. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. Playing a little bit of Starfield over there.
I was just playing Starfield. I'm just running around collecting stuff. Level 49 on my second character.
Second character or second playthrough?
No, I went full character.
Oh,
second.
damn.
Made a new one. Yeah, I have one character that I played from, when it first came out, just head down, played, beat it twice. Or, roll credits twice.
Yeah.
Did the run through twice with that character, and then just started a new one with made it with my wife, and now I'm just playing it. Second time, taking it a lot slower.
Nice. Yeah, I think I only did mine twice. I might have ran through speed ran a third one just to see if anything changed, because there's the different bits, but
oh yeah, no, I don't know. I stopped playing because I was burnt out and I enjoyed my time, and then I just wanted to go back, so went with a new one. Now I just play when I want.
it works. Juggling different games. Also, we'll get into that in a bit. Before we jump into things, little icebreaker here. I hinted at to you again earlier with Super Bowl coming up this weekend. That didn't go either of our ways, which is complete garbage. The Lions dropped the ball.
Yeah, it's rough. More rough for you. Lions were close, and man, that game.
I was emotionally distressed for the first time in my life I can officially say over football. Actively tweeting, actively getting upset.
You gotta love it.
I don't know if love's the word I'd use. But, with Super Bowl happening, for our icebreaker question, if you, Kyle, had your own football team, what sort of video game friend would you want to be your mascot?
That's good.
And to give you time to think, I'll throw mine out because I've had time. And it's going to be a
go
very, very low ball for the people that get it. But in the world of Azeroth, in World of Warcraft, there are, at this point, a meme, but wonderful creatures that have been turned into merch. You can get them as slippers, you can get them as hoodies, but they are called the Murlocs. I will throw them up on screen if you are watching right now. Wonderful time. Just little fish gurgly boys. Bunch of hooligans. Beauty good, shaded side profile of these guys. Perfect. Get fun-themed helmet designs. Be a threat.
I'd like it. There'd be some cool colors.
That's what I'm saying. You could do the different themed with wherever, you're playing away games and stuff. You could full different themed helmets every time. Great. Marketing is endless.
I like it. I wouldn't have thought that. But it makes sense.
I said very low ball if you're a WoW player. Those things are everywhere. They're turned into whatever they need them to be.
Yeah, I'm trying to, let's see. I mean, you think if you're going Xbox stuff, Spartan, even that's God of War as well, right? Spartans, that works. Gears of War, if you want to stick with that stuff, you got Gears, you got the cogs on the field. A little weird sounding, but I keep coming back to Spyro. I don't know what you would call it because you can't be we're the Spyros.
Just the dragons.
But I just think the dragons, but that's not that exciting. So I don't have an actual name, but the logo, Spyro coming back hopefully this generation or next. Hopefully we see a new Spyro game.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I think the design would be real cool with and then the purple and orange tints on the uniform.
Full purple uniform, yeah.
Would be real hot looking. So yeah, those were the first three. Is when you asked, those were the first three: Spartans, Gears of War, Cogs, and then Spyro.
Which is wild, because when I thought about this at work 2 days ago, Spartans and stuff didn't even cross my mind once. As should have. Didn't cross my mind once, so that works.
But I also just watched the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Halo, the show on Paramount Plus. So I got Halo on the mind.
Oh yeah. Did you watch season 1? I haven't watched any of it. We don't have Paramount Plus, so I'm a little behind on what's going on.
I would say once, because they're coming out weekly now, I would say if you can get like a cheap trial for the month or a free one anywhere, or you just buy a month, do it when you can get all of season 1 and when season 2 comes out, so you can get it all together. Season 1, weird, interesting. Season 2 already, it's only 2 episodes. The feel, the vibe is way more Halo. I'm so much more into the story they're telling. I still don't get the side plot they added. You know, there's no side plot in Halo outside of the Arbiter, but like the side plot they added in season 1 for the Halo show is, it doesn't feel like Halo. It feels more Sci-Fi Channel show. So, you know, season 2 has to win me on that storyline. They haven't yet, but it's only 2 episodes. The overall vibe, way better. So I'd say hopefully it's going to be a must-watch by the end of season 2 for you.
Yeah, I think now that you mention it, I think there is active for Game Pass members and like the perks. I think there is like a free 30-day thing for Paramount Plus that you can get, so I may save that for closer to when season 2 is done.
Yes, definitely. The theme song, it's actually Halo music now. So, I mean, already the vibe is great.
Are you saying there's no horny chief in season 2 yet?
Well, it's only 2 episodes, so we might get Master Cheeks.
Oh, even more butts. It always comes back to the butts.
Always comes back to the butts.
Speaking of Game Pass and stuff, I would also like to throw out, made a mistake last week when we were talking about Helldivers 2. Not in the PS Plus Premium stuff. I was a liar, dirty liar. It is in fact a full $40 game with all the live service stuff later is free. So it's not in the subscription like we thought it was.
Okay. Yeah, and you say full price $40.
Yeah, full price 40,
like,
whatever
hey,
that means.
It's $40, right? Yeah, whatever that means. So I think it's smart, especially I was personally wondering what this is going to look like long term and even short term on their delivery. But hey, Helldivers 2 came out. It's selling well. People like it. It looks fun. It's just, is this something that is going to last a long, long time, or is it intentionally just for like 4 to 6 months and then we're moving on to, right? And maybe that's not consecutively. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's doing numbers for sure. I think PC has passed God of War and Spider-Man and everything. Like, it's the number one thing for Sony right now. On PC, at least. Yeah. Which, good for them.
Which makes sense. Because, hey, day and date on PC, it's another platform.
It's almost like that's the future discussion. Part of, on top of your Starfield, what else have you been playing? Because there's one thing I want to ask you about that I saw you jumped into that you started uploading this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so still playing Pal World with my wife. We started playing Fortnite more now. So that's been really fun. So we're trying to get more and more into that.
Are you playing Zero Build?
I don't mess with the build stuff. No, I years ago I bought one battle pass, and once you buy one, if you complete enough of it, you can earn enough V-Bucks to buy the next season. So I just keep going back when I'm interested in the season. So I completed that. I got my enough V-Bucks to buy the next one, but I got to unlock Peter Griffin now. So once I do that, I'll probably stop playing Fortnite. But I also did start my Elden Ring playthrough, which I've played a lot. I've played multiple times Elden Ring since it's come out, but I haven't gotten past the Lady Moon, the Moon Lady boss in the castle area. If you played Elden Ring, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But I couldn't get past that, and I always just stalled and then put it down for months, and it's a hard game to jump back into. So this is my playthrough I'm committing to beating in 2024.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about, because we might have talked about it when you did your Liza P thing a while back. Soulsborne games not for me. I get upset, I beat myself up too much, and I just give up real fast. And I picked up Elden Ring. It would have been that year's Black Friday. I think I picked it up for like half off or something. Played maybe an hour to 2 hours and got absolutely demolished by some dude riding a horse, and I've never returned since. I like watching people play
I think
it,
I know.
but not for me to progress through, so.
Yeah, it's I mean, when I first played it, I watched a lot of like TikToks on it, and that definitely helped because I didn't play any Souls-like before Elden Ring. This is like my first one, and then I started dipping my toe in other ones. So I had to learn what those games were and kind of the language that's already embedded in those games that it kind of just wants you to know. So that took a while. I think now I'm in a different spot than when I started at Elden Ring, and already I'm like, all right, I get this a lot more. I'm understanding how to play this more. I've grown.
I've grown. I am one with the ring. Not the ring, but the ring.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing?
Not a lot. This week has been kind of a whirlwind. Started Jusant on stream. Super fun. It's not what I was expecting, but I don't know what I was expecting with like a climbing game. When that's like the marketing line for it.
Yeah.
I think we're through chapter 3. I think there's only 5, so we're over halfway already. A little bit of Halo Infinite. A little bit of Like a Dragon, because that's a 2-hour nightmare that will never end for me. Well, not nightmare, but just a never-ending dream.
Yeah, it'll always be there.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly it. Like, it's been a very slow week, and not just life. The feels get you sometimes. You're just like, no, games aren't for me today, but...
Oh, yeah.
And just with everything else going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I feel you on that. Yeah, I mean, I've stalled out once I beat... What, I think I got 5 games beaten in about 3 weeks in January, and then I just started a new game, continuing my Sea of Stars playthrough, kind of at night, chilling out. That's a little game right there, but it's long. But you gotta... Apparently it's long. I thought it was like 35 instead of long to beat. Am I wrong?
Okay, cool. I started it myself when it came out initially, and I probably got... like the first like major town you come to, like a minor town or something. I couldn't even tell you because I haven't touched it since. But I wanted to return to it, just never got around to it. How long the beat says 28 hours and then 34 plus for other stuff. So yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I'm super early in it, but I just been going back to Destiny and such, so I go back to my comfort games.
Yeah.
Madden. Always got my sports games, and they're just turn the brain off and relax.
You can turn your brain off to Madden? Let me tell you, we downloaded that last year because Caitlin's really into it, and we were doing like we did like the whole draft and we're doing seasons and stuff. I was sweating and having like panic attacks playing that game. I am so bad.
So funny. It's funny when you just don't. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing Madden easily outside of like you asked last week, first game, oldest game memory, whatever it was. But yeah, definitely Madden is in those mix of like what games you grew up with. It's how I know football. It's why I learned how I learned football really, and no matter what, I always buy it. I can't help it. It comes out, and I'm like, you know what? I do have the money. I could do it. It's just I hate it. You know, it's a lot of money every year, but fun. it's my relaxing game.
So you do the wait a year for it to come into Game Pass, because that's why I asked.
Well, here's the thing. It's been long. It used to take longer, but it's on Game Pass before the Super Bowl now. 24 is on Game Pass right now, and to me, I'm like, all right, I can wait. But it used to be after, but I probably can't wait. I just, I like it's my relaxed game. I need to get the updated roster. You have to. It's all different. They add so many mechanics every year over year. It's a brand new game. It's sarcasm.
It's sarcasm.
No, I mean that's the problem with those games too. We don't need to talk about sports games.
No, that's
There's
how I
other
felt
things
with
to talk about.
MLB, the show though. I was like, oh, these are great, and I'm like, oh, it's back again. I guess I'll try it again. I guess.
Perfect Game Pass game. Oh, there's nothing better than just the bat though, swinging the bat, that crack. of the bat hitting the ball as you sail it over the fence.
Yeah.
Such good noises.
Such good noise. Sound effects, A+.
That's like easily 50% of games is sound.
It is. That's we're going full off the rails.
Yeah, we really are.
We're going a little bit farther because I have a fun story. I used to be really big into golf games, like PGA. No idea. I was a 13-year-old kid, had no reason to be playing golf. I wish I knew what year it was. I was playing one, and they had, like, at the time I didn't know, but they would have, like, live sportscast on the main menu and, like, what they were talking about on ESPN or whatever in the background instead of music. And the one night I logged on, and it happened to be the night that Tiger Woods, like, attacked his wife or whatever, and they were talking about that on the main menu, and I was like, oh, that's a weird thing to be talking about in a Tiger Woods game, and then came to find out it was, like, actually happening in real time.
Like, what a really weird thing that they added into this game.
Yeah, I was like, that's a weird realism thing that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, oh, no, this is actually, like, real life happening right now. Sports.
And I did not know they had that. Yeah, that era had some games like that have some weird features. Like, oh yeah, we have actual live news reports of current news in our game. So we actually reported that Tiger Woods was beating his wife in this video game for you. Oops, we didn't see that coming, but I guess we had this feature. Yeah, there's a lot of games that have stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd have to go back on True Achievements to see what that was. I just distinctly, I was like in the basement, like, remember everything. I was like, huh. What a thing.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Guess who I'm not picking this run through of golf?
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods. Moving on to primary topic for this week. Talked about it in passing last week as things developed, and I'm honestly happy we waited till today, because there's even been developments today that just throw everything out the window that I don't know if you've seen yet or not. But that is with the rumors, speculation, insider quote-unquote news of Xbox going full third-party publisher, possibly stepping out of the console space, possibly just putting Xbox games anywhere they can. PlayStation, Switch, whatever, Switch 2, whatever you want it to be. And the internet is in flames. For, depending what side you're on or how you're viewing it, right? Or just they're acting like a bunch of buffoons. I know when we talked about this before, you mentioned that it would be good because we're both kind of on opposite sides. Right now, I don't know what side I'm on. Because everything's just... I just want it to be over, is the side I'm on right now.
Yeah. Well, it was super interesting just seeing it break last Sunday. As of right now, Friday night we're recording.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, cool. Like, they're talking about putting Starfield. That was the first report I saw. Xbox, Microsoft is considering, or in talks, thinking about putting Starfield on PlayStation. And that was just one report, and the article was just, I have sources. I have my source that confirmed it, and then it just talked about that thing, right? And there was only one line that referenced a source, so that means like you had one source say this, and then the internet just took it. Of course, you had like Tom Warren from The Verge, you had the Xbox era, which was the first post I saw that I'm referencing here, and you did have other people pick it up, and people in the space that are reputable, maybe. I mean, we'll see after all this what comes down, and if everything was authentic information or stuff they leaked honestly. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. But we'll see. I mean, I just... It's... Now I'm trying to gather my thoughts again.
No, you're good. It's... We'll rewind it back and go to the beginning, because there's a few things before, even like the Starfield stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so originally, I want to say it was second week of January, like early January, stuff started. swirling around of Hi-Fi Rush. Shadow drop from last year from the developer direct. Everyone that plays it loved. A lot of people thought it should have been Game of the Year contender last year. Super great game. That started that was going to go multi-platform to Switch and PlayStation. I believe both were specifically mentioned. Which I think at that point we were both like, okay, yeah, sure, we can see it. Smaller thing, niche, sort of, not a platform seller, right? That then evolved into Sea of Thieves was going to PlayStation. Which again, we talked like, yeah, see it. That game's 6 years old. I would love to have more life in that game. The team is doing great updating it as is. Community's at probably the highest it's been since the most recent update. But yeah, bring more players in. Awesome. Sounds great. Then yeah, that, as you said, turned into Starfield was going multi-platform, and that's when everyone was like, yo, whoa, hit the brakes. This has been a year-plus long battle before Starfield even came out, just to get them to say it was going to be Xbox exclusive, to then just turn around less than a year later and be like, jokes, thanks for buying the console and investing into us. It is actually going everywhere.
Big if, too, because,
yeah,
again,
big if.
Nothing, and that's where I think where I was leading to is, at the end of the day, this is all rumors. And, like, that one article that then got picked up and then got spread and then more info, then it was not just Starfield. It wasn't just Hi-Fi. It wasn't just Sea of Thieves. It was Gears of War. It's Halo Master Chief Collection. It's Halo Infinite. It's
Indiana
just the multiplayer.
Jones.
It's Indiana Jones after a certain amount of time. And it's just so much info from a lot of different sources of being, this is what they're doing, this is what they're doing, this is what they're thinking about. And again, no one knows for sure, and I think a lot of people took it as this is fact and they ran with it, and that's what the conversation has been going about. I think when you start looking into Xbox's business strategy, this makes a lot of sense for them to put things after a time exclusivity on their own platform. It makes sense to put those those games on other platforms. It's just they do it on PC and it works effectively. Starfield was one of the top sellers of the year on Steam, and it came day and date on Xbox. I didn't buy it. I bought the $30 expansion pass because with Game Pass I was able to afford that because I didn't have to spend $60 on the whole game, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to buy the expansion passes anyway, so for me it made sense. But I could have paid $0 and played it on my PC or my Xbox, same save, day and date, and anyone could have as well. But they still bought it on Steam, right? And I think that's what they are seeing on the back end, numbers that we don't get access to. We're not privy to that information fully, but I just think they see it. It's way more successful putting stuff on different platforms, different areas, and it just makes sense. Again, what matters is PlayStation giving anything in return? So if this is Xbox is opening the gates, Halo, Gears, Flight Simulator was a part of this talk too. If these day and date first party exclusives are on PlayStation, and Sony has to also give Xbox exclusives too. And I just don't think Microsoft would be nice enough to do that unless they're getting it in return. We do get MLB The Show day and date though, right? That's a Sony first party studio exclusive that they're putting on Xbox. It's a sports game, so it's different. It's still a game, It's a game, but I would argue with that almost. I remember when that happened the first time, where it very much was like, it was an MLB decision. Like, if you want to keep making these games, you're going to do this type thing. Yeah. And that definitely is... it has to be MLB saying that. And then I play it every year now. I have 23 downloaded right now on my console. I will have 24 downloaded as soon as it comes out. There are people who, like me, that are using Game Pass in this way, and I haven't been able to play a baseball game because I had an Xbox. I happened to have a neighbor that had an Xbox that encouraged me to get an Xbox, and that's why I have an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get to play this MLB game, but now I get to. I just think those barriers are what's coming down. It's what games like Fortnite have done with their ability to be on a bunch of different platforms and still have your save go everywhere. Everyone's playing that still, right? Those numbers aren't dwindling as much in that game while everyone else is. You need to be able to be everywhere, and I think Xbox sees that. It is the messaging though, because it does you do have to worry about, if I don't have an Xbox anymore, what does that mean, right? And that is a big if, and that's a big question because I don't know what it means if Xbox long term, do they get out of selling hardware? I don't know.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the online talk is about. From, oh, we're losing consoles, to people have spent years building digital libraries that they were just going to disappear now, which has been even blown more up with the recent Funimation is closing down, I believe, is the one, and all of your like purchased anime and stuff is being deleted. Like, you're just losing your entire catalog that you've bought because the app's closing. So people are like, okay, well, that's exactly what's going to happen to Xbox now.
Yeah, and I think I will argue though that it's Microsoft behind them. You know, I have cloud documents from grade school. I don't know why I have them still, but they're saved.
They're floating.
Right? So I can download a 360 game. I could play a 360 game through cloud streaming right now, and my save from the 360 era, the last time I played it, would be there. Microsoft has this architecture already in place for like supporting long term. I honestly think digitally is fine. I just think it's the physical support. I mean, everyone's going digital, and I think Microsoft, it as a whole, has been a company that has been a software company first, right, with the Office suite and everything. So I just think I'm not worried about the digital side going away. I just think, what does it mean for the physical side? Because I do think that then affects the market as a whole if there's only one console to physically buy.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we're heading towards either. I think that's, if that's the case, that is such a long time from now, and it's not going to make sense to have a box, right? And I think that's just a world that we're not there yet.
Would you even, because I feel like it's been rumored the past 3-4 years now, of the Xbox streaming stick, like a Fire Stick. Do you think people would be okay with that as like an option?
Yeah, I think so. They're testing it. The Samsung TVs. I have a Backbone. So I mentioned my wife and I are playing Power World and Fortnite together. She's playing exclusively on Backbone through her phone, through cloud streaming the console to her phone. Just because it's not like next to my computer, and that's where I'm playing. Like I sit next to each other, hang out. So she's playing it through the cloud. I mean, long term, if Xbox can figure out a way to be able to allow you, but Apple's a problem. If you have an iPhone, they're locking down their they lock down their storefront. But if I can download natively and have it stored on my phone, like Game Pass games, like, or even Fortnite, and it's downloaded onto my phone, and I could play it from there, and it's the Xbox branded stuff, it's the Xbox support through it, I'm getting achievements, but it's natively downloaded. Dude, that's so cool. I mean, just think of it. I don't know if you have Netflix or if you've messed with Netflix games, but you're on the App Store and you see Netflix and it has a game, and you click the game, you download it, and boom, you're ready to go. That's exactly what Game Pass can be, except Apple wants to charge you per singular game, where Game Pass is like, no, we have a catalog. Just it's interesting. That's specific, different things right there. But
yeah,
I just think it's a different world than we're understanding, and then what the old generation was. Phil straight up said, we lost the console wars, so why are we still using those quote terms to like describe what's going on right now? It's a whole different field, in my opinion.
Which, that, going off what you just said, which absolutely blows my mind, and I may offer a unique perspective just because my physical location, when you said that you guys were playing Power World and she was using cloud streaming and stuff, that's wild to me. Because game streaming here... Oh, go ahead.
I do want to clarify, it's where the console is playing it. So we have two consoles, a Series S and an X.
Yep.
So she's playing on her S, and that's streaming over the Wi-Fi straight to the phone. So it's not going through their servers, because like the cloud streaming is a little different than like remote play. That's the word I'm actually trying to use here, remote play.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was about to say, like, here, like, streaming anything like that is almost impossible, and not even just Xbox. There's, on my PS5, for example, last year I started playing through Sly Coopers again, which are only available through streaming on PS Plus, and I physically couldn't stream a PS2 game to my PS5 just because the internet here is terrible. Like, Midwest, we're so far behind service-wise that, like, stuff like that, unless you're directly hardwired into anything, internet is struggling to do anything. So cloud streaming here is almost like a non-factor that I don't even think about half the time, because you can't do it. Even in my house, sitting next to my router and stuff, hardly works. And I'm lucky if I can, like, start up a Vampire Survivors round without crashing. Like, that side of things is such a non-factor to me that honestly, like, I don't think about it in the conversation right now, sadly.
No, but that's like, it's valid, and I think that's something that I mean, I hope, right? We don't know for sure, but I hope that Xbox and Microsoft is aware of, and I assume and would think that they are aware of, and that's why, like, there's no way they're not making another box. They learned that with the Xbox One reveal when they went always online, and your game is your game, you can't share it, even though that's literally what we're doing right now. Your console's always online. Almost all these games, the majority of games require an online presence, and if you don't, it has issues and it struggles. So isn't that what it was? Isn't what Xbox was leaning for years ago? Isn't that kind of the world we're living in? Except instead of it being closed off like they tried to do, they opened it up, and it needs to, we just need to be open about all this and not close it in. But I it's people like you and living in areas that don't have high-speed fiber optic internet where you can download anything quickly. They need consoles, and that's why they're not going to get rid of them. And that's why I don't think it's a streaming and internet is not widespread enough to just drop that off. It's a huge player base, and the people who are loud and talk on social media and are the loudest on social media are such a small percentage.
The vocal minority
of the exactly. There's such a small minority of the player base, and even though they're loud and sure it affects the perception, most people who are aware and understanding don't care about, or most people just don't care. They don't even hear that stuff. Where's the game that I can play Call of Duty? Where's the game I could play FC, football club now? Where can I play Madden? And where are my friends playing?
Yeah, we sort of jumped around a little bit. I want to go back. When we initially started talking, you said that you originally saw the news break from Xbox era, which I'm so happy you said, because I said at the beginning that some things have actually developed since then and today, and more things have come out. From Nate to Hate on Twitter, who was the one who, like, corroborated Xbox era's initially report about Starfield going multi-platform, came out today with, quote, "I'm now of the belief that Starfield is not happening, and the info spread around was pure fiction. I'll own up to this mess." Which, already online talk is somehow, like, minimized just off of another rumor to a rumor to a rumor of it not happening now. Which is wild. Because, again, like, we don't know anything. And the same people who are throwing this stuff out there, seeing what sticks and where it sticks, are just throwing out more stuff to get clicks in the end of things.
Yeah. Well, especially on X, you get paid for impressions. You get paid for just people viewing your tweet. Not even, you don't even have to click it or post about it or comment on it. You just, if you scroll past it, it helps to a degree, and then if you press it, it does even more. So it's just, we have to be aware, and you have to do your research and just follow the lead. A story's a story, but I mean, it's just been entertaining seeing some of the posts of, like, Xbox is losing this person, Xbox has lost this person, Xbox has lost them. I'm like,
Good.
I don't know who these names are. The ones I am aware of, I've just seen go back and forth and just try to farm engagement, right? And it's positive, it's negative, it's anything. It's just whatever gets engagement. So it's just the big explosion reaction was just a minute thing on social media. It actually, I don't think really is a big deal in any way, but I do think it started a very needed conversation about, hey, Microsoft, you need to be a little transparent here because there's a lot of people taking advantage of you not making it clear, even though I think they have been, pretty clear, but they haven't been clear enough, and there's a lot of rumors. They're being forced to talk, and that's where we're at now.
Also for updates today, because there was one more thing that just broke like hour and a half ago.
Oh, jeez.
Someone by the name of Shannon Liao, who, I don't know, she writes for Updater, a site I've never heard of, posted to her Substack in a newsletter that Xbox, the company, has held an internal Tuesday town hall this week where Spencer told employees that there were no plans to stop making consoles and that Xboxes would continue to be an integral part of a strategy that involves multiple kinds of devices. So again, I wouldn't be shocked, and I think I tweeted it, if next week when they have their big reveal business meeting, that they just announce the next console then, just to like stop people's fears.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at his tweet, he says, hey, we hear you, we're listening, we hear you guys. We've been planning, not we have a meeting, we'll talk next week. It says we've been planning. So putting on tinfoil hat, yeah, is this a meeting that has always been on the books? And because they've been working on this event, whatever it is, did people get some info and they ran with it and they leaked it? So there was a leak on this event. They just didn't know it was some event coming up. They leak it. So maybe this event has always been in the works. We still don't know what their plan with Activision is. We don't know Blizzard. We don't know any of that yet. So at some point they have to tell us at least what their vision is with it. So to me, yeah, a business meeting where they're going to tell us exactly what they're doing with Bethesda. Let's reopen it up, right? What are we doing with Bethesda, ZeniMax? What are we doing with Blizzard, Activision, and King? How is that going to fit with Xbox as a whole? And how are we going to do that? Because you can't have every Activision title like first-party exclusive. I don't think so, right? I think there's just a host of games that have always been multi-platform that I think it behooves Microsoft to keep that open, just like Call of Duty. So
yeah, if you were one of the people who thought Call of Duty was going to become an exclusive at the start of all this, you're a nutter. Like, plain and simple, because that was never going to happen.
As an Xbox player, from the original Xbox to present day, right? There's been so many games and DLC and things that Xbox players have missed out on because PlayStation buys it. I'm not a fan of that strategy. I just don't think it works, right? And yeah, sure, that's a loser mentality. Why is this a fight? Like, I don't care. What's best for the consumer? Why are we fighting for these companies? Yeah, I want to make sure that my investment is protected and unvalued, and I do feel that with Xbox. So that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, no, exact same. I personally missed original Xbox just because I was a child. I wasn't buying consoles, and I only got my 360 because it was a bundle with a new TV my mom got. That's it. But I've been, since then, main console, primary, what I buy all my third-party stuff on. I'm in it for the long haul. Like, I got shirts, I got merch, I got what have you. Like, it's my primary thing. And at first, yeah, when all this stuff started, like, the thought of, oh, it's doom and gloom time. Xbox may just... They're going the way of Sega, as everyone said. They're dropping out. They're just releasing games, making the most maximum profit they can. Was, like, a bit of a shock, honestly. Like, I was on the camp of, like, well, screw me, I guess. This has all been for naught. Like, sticking with this brand for the years of promises of the games are coming, we're promising this and that and this, and it never happens. Like, it was, like you said, the Xbox One reveal times of just complete morale loss and the uncertainty of everything. Which, even if they, next week when this event happens, and everything was just a rumor, which that's been my favorite tinfoil hat, has been people have online been like, oh, maybe they just told different quote-unquote insiders different things to see what leaked where to stop the flow of leaks internally, or they were slowly leaking this stuff out over time to see what would hit and what wouldn't to get, like, audience reaction. Like, if all this is true and everything is just multi-platform, what does that mean for us who do play Xbox? Like you said earlier, with digital libraries not being, like, nothing to worry about with their ecosystem, that then does become an issue of, does PlayStation allow that? Does PlayStation allow you to, like, have an Xbox account on their service and have all these license transfers come over? Does Nintendo do that with Switch too? Like, there's just so much up in the air and so many what-if scenarios that I feel are valid that I'd like to jump into, because there's a couple things even related to Game Pass specifically, which I honestly feel, above all else, there's going to be a complete rebranding of what Game Pass is as a service more than anything. But
what do you think that looks like? Because I just don't know what a rebrand would be. I mean, it's called Game Pass as opposed to Xbox Game Pass. I don't think they're doing Microsoft Game Pass. That doesn't make... you can't drop the Xbox title.
I would hope
in
not.
my opinion. You can't, unless... I just don't think you will. And I think that's years from now. You can't pull the plug out when you got the year started already.
Yeah, as long as the console's there, I think it will be Xbox Game Pass. The thing that made me start thinking about it, though, was on Kind of Funny Games Daily yesterday, I think it was, Greg was talking about it. And he brought up the thing that hasn't crossed my mind yet. Say if Game Pass does go to PlayStation, like Xbox is done, we're just third-party developer, you have a Game Pass tab on your PlayStation 5 when you boot it up, whatever. Hypothetically, say studios like Annapurna, if they had a game launching in Game Pass, but also just available normally on, like, the PlayStation Store, what's to incentivize them to do that? Do they take the cut from an all-out Game Pass purchase and then lose out on the 30% or whatever Sony takes from their own store? Is it available on both places? Does Xbox get something for the PlayStation purchase as well as the Game Pass purchase? Like,
and that's where I think
way of saying it.
Yeah, I think when you start thinking business wise, it doesn't really make sense what the rumors were saying. And honestly, it's always talked about what Xbox is doing, what Microsoft is doing, how they're dropping the ball. Microsoft is getting rid of Xbox. What about PlayStation, right? Like, PlayStation is the one that, for the longest time, had an issue with cross-save, right? Or cross-play, so to speak, right? There was a ton of issues. I forget what game specifically. Oh man, it's gonna kill me. But there's a game I just remember them saying, like, oh yeah, we can have cross-play on, it's just we're waiting on Sony. They don't want it, essentially. And I just remember that being a thing, and I know Sony isn't going to want Game Pass on their platform because they know it's going to... I don't see the value Sony would have, because also I don't think Microsoft would want to give up that money. Remember those court documents we all saw when they leaked? Part of it was Phil Spencer, or maybe just in the court hearings. Part of it was Phil Spencer saying, PlayStation takes 30% of the cut right away, and we've put our games on their platform. they're going to take that 30%, and what they've done in the past is use it to buy games to not put on our platform. That is paraphrased. He said it in a different way. But essentially, PlayStation uses that money to hurt Xbox long term. Like to buy Final Fantasy 16 and make it only on PlayStation, to buy the Final Fantasy 7 remake and Rebirth, right? So it's PlayStation is kind of the one being the issue here. If you look at it from that angle, Xbox wants to play fair, and they could play that way as a big corporation with a nice little service like Game Pass. Be like, we can be anywhere, help us out. You guys are saying no, right? It's two corporations we're talking about. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
but I think business-wise, it doesn't make sense for Microsoft to open the gates without PlayStation doing it, and it doesn't make sense for PlayStation to have Game Pass. Like, it doesn't make sense for PlayStation to put Game Pass on their console. So I don't think we'll get there. I think we're at an impasse. I think nothing is going to happen.
Yeah, that's sort of where Sony's been kind of behind on everything and just very, like, still hard-headed on their ideals. Because that was even the thing with, like, Fortnite, when everything was going cross-play and Sony didn't want to do it, and Fortnite was like, okay, we'll just take our game off and you just lose all this money from the store and stuff. And kind of, like, hardballed them into doing cross-play.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, in what world would Sony, where they get that 30% cut on games, want to lose all that to a competing service in their ecosystem of stuff? Like, that idea, unless it's different how Game Pass works. I don't know. I don't know the back end. We don't know business deals. We don't know how much developers make. We don't know how that's distributed. Like, it's so many what ifs that just build atop each other that people are naturally inclined to, like, find the worst of, and that's where the doom and gloom stuff comes from, sadly.
Yeah, well, it's easier to be negative, and it's more entertaining, and it's more captivating watching it. It grabs attention. Positives, oh, that's cool. It's good to see, and you move on, right? It's unfortunate, but we need to be better at focusing and highlighting more of the positive and understanding when a report that says they are having conversations about possibly doing this, potentially almost a year and a half away from the initial release. Take that for what it is. They are talking about it, just like you and I are talking about it, just like anyone in any company anywhere can talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And we have heard nothing, and I can't wait till when we hear stuff.
And it's
now what? Oh, go for it.
No, I was going to say, even to, like, Sony's credit of how they're sort of viewed as, like, the leader right now, and, like, the first place thing, because people always push out Nintendo, who makes infinitely more than both of these companies. Yeah, Sony's doing great. They have killer titles all the time. Sales numbers are through the roof, whatever. But stuff's still, like, failing to meet expectations internally. Like, Spider-Man 2 sold well, but how much money it took to make, like, the return on investment of that wasn't much. You mentioned the Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity, like, Square Enix has come out and said, like, that failed to meet expectations across the board because it was limited to one place.
Which is a game that got me, someone who never played Final Fantasy 16, to buy it. I already had a PlayStation 5. I didn't buy it for Final Fantasy 16, but that game looked good enough. It got me to try Final Fantasy 16. Imagine if that was on Steam at least.
Yeah. It's the thing of, is Xbox ahead of the curve on all of this and getting ahead of things before they crash again? And Sony's going to be sort of left behind trying to, like, make deals last moment to expand as much as they can to make up lost ground, almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that PlayStation had 12 plus live service games in, and we're getting those releasing now with, like, Helldivers and such, and Foam Stars. But we don't know where that's still going, but 12 plus games in development, live service game, that's a lot of team and resources. So what is that taking? Where did that come from? Where are you pulling from? What are you choosing to not focus focus on? What are you choosing not to develop to make these live service games? And is that still the case? PlayStation is a big question mark this year. We got the state of play and the rebirth direct or state of play, but to me, we still didn't see enough from them. So I don't even know what to expect from Sony this year. I have a lot of questions about long term what they're doing, because I don't think we see, like you said, Final Fantasy 16 financially, and then even with Spider-Man financially, like paying for or pouring money into these big AAA games is not sustainable. It looks like long term. So I'm intrigued by what that's going to mean for PlayStation and what that is. Xbox, yeah, are they ahead of the curve yet again? But were they trying to get ahead of the narrative? But then these leaks came out and everyone took it and ran with it, and now they have to react.
Yeah, which I think that you mentioned, I mentioned earlier, the rebranding of Game Pass, which you asked what I think that looks like. To help with sales on their side, on Xbox's side of things, I could easily see them coming out and rolling back the day one first party stuff for Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. Roll those back. Hey, you're still gonna have to buy these day one. They'll come to Game Pass like 6-10 months down the line, though. I think they would still want to keep like Compulsion, Double Fine, Turn 10, 343, their stuff in their day one as still like an incentive to come over to invest in that service on the console itself or on the streaming stick, wherever you have an Xbox thing tied to. Have that still as the main draw, but the wider range of stuff, take that out. I could even see them doing something like multiplayer. Well, no, because they took away the different levels of Game Pass, right? It's just like Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then technically it's console, PC, and then Ultimate.
Yeah.
Which is all.
I see them tiering the releases in a different way, where not everything is going to be quote-unquote free with your subscription.
Yeah, see, I that has been the marketing for Game Pass from the beginning. Here's Game Pass, all first-party exclusive, day and date will drop. I do think that is a huge pivot to go away from that. I don't think that's where they're heading. I think it still has to be day and date on console. And I think what you're seeing is some games don't come to PC right away. Sometimes they're not on PC Game Pass, but sometimes they're not even on PC. We've seen that it's not like a blanket policy for every single game on Game Pass or PC Game Pass. You know, it really is a case-by-case basis, I think, when you look into it. And that's what they said they're going to do. So I do agree while I think Activision, Blizzard, and, well, King is a very interesting... The mobile side is really interesting, but specifically for Activision and Blizzard, I could see specific games like World of Warcraft, you know, Call of Duty. Overwatch is free to play, but I'm trying to think of what else. You know, they talked about StarCraft when this merger happened, maybe coming back.
Diablo,
you know, whatever
Overwatch.
That StarCraft is. Like, I understand Diablo, especially, them not coming to Game Pass for a year, 6 months to a year. A year makes the most sense. Bethesda's hard because you already have it, but I could see now it being, well, Xbox. Well, I mean, Xbox helped develop Starfield in a way. They were more hands-on, I think, than Redfall, at least. So you could say that, and then they let Bethesda decide for Elder Scrolls 6, right? You can explain that away, but I don't think you can not have it in most of Bethesda's titles, and obviously Microsoft's Game Studios, or Xbox Game Studios. You have to have Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda titles, I think, day and date in Game Pass. I think it's up to Bethesda now where they put them as well. I think Microsoft might be letting these studios decide where.
Yeah, and I think the reason I said that initially of having the some stuff not day and date is I think they can get by with having it be called Xbox Game Pass. Like, to the wider audience, if you're not in the know, if you're not on Twitter and stuff, like, Bethesda's still Bethesda. You don't... Your general, I play Skyrim, isn't looking at Bethesda and being like, oh yeah, it's Xbox now, you know? They still view it as its own thing, which Xbox has said they want to keep it as its own independent, like, you guys do you, we'll have people here to help and overlook and see things, but Bethesda's still Bethesda, not looked at as Xbox and Bethesda, or Xbox Bethesda. Like, that's where I think they can get away with it if they did keep it just the Xbox Game Studios, that banner of their internal stuff on Game Pass.
You know, also, I think Activision was a publisher, right? That's no longer the case, right? Xbox is the publisher, or they're outsourcing their publishing.
Yeah.
So, in a way now, if you view it like Sony, you know, you have Sony PlayStation, right? Then you have, you know, Sony Santa Monica, Sony San Diego, Naughty Dog, and those are all first-party studios, Insomniac. Activision now is just another studio, right? Under this umbrella. But we don't refer to Naughty Dog as Sony's, you know, Sony PlayStation's, you know, Naughty Dog studio. No, that's Naughty Dog. And I think Xbox now has this. They bought it. They bought these studios, of course, but you know Bethesda, you know Activision, you know Blizzard. It doesn't need to be Xbox this, Xbox that. So I can understand them not needing to put stuff into Game Pass, not needing them attached to Game Pass in any way. But some just have to be a part of the service to get you to want Game Pass and to keep wanting to buy into the ecosystem. Because they need subscriptions. That is the seller. That's the moneymaker, not seller.
It's... Yeah, when you look at them as their own independent things, it does make it seem, or those talks happening behind the scenes where they're in charge of Bethesda, Activision, whatever, outside of Call of Duty. I'm not counting Call of Duty in this talk because that's its own entirely thing. That's the money generator. It's going to be everywhere no matter what. But if they're overseeing those talks of, hey, Sony, Blade is going to be Xbox exclusive unless you want to pay for the publishing costs for Bethesda to put it on PlayStation, sort of thing.
And that's where I think
I don't with that.
And I think, I mean, we know that they complained about that 30% cut, and I think that's a huge aspect of it. I think Xbox would want them to have less money, and we'll give you this game, otherwise we have it on Game Pass. But again, if money is bad, if they're looking at their reports for the next year, 2 years out, I believe that's, I don't know how money works.
For a $1 trillion company, you don't know how that runs, Kyle?
Not at all. If their money isn't looking good and they see like, all right, this is trending actually where we're plateauing pretty hard, it makes sense to put it on other platforms. I just don't think that includes day and date stuff, because if I can place, if Spider-Man Miles Morales just came to Xbox last year because it finally, the exclusivity was up, cool. I'd be happy to play it. That's awesome, right? I don't know why that would affect anyone. So to me, if Indiana Jones comes out in a year on PlayStation, good for them. Enjoy it. It's a great game, hopefully. Hey, if you're playing Starfield after the expansion, oh man, y'all are in for a great game. You got Starfield and the new expansion. Like, cool. Day and date is like the hard line.
Yeah, that I agree, because that's where two people are like, a majority, with how much stuff is coming out and indies everywhere and constant hits coming left and right, I feel more than ever people are okay waiting that 6 months 8 months, 10 months, whatever it be, for stuff to come over to the other console. And that's where a lot of the people online are upset of, that's not making people buy an Xbox, though. But like you said, Game Pass is the thing. Like, Xbox Series X, S, Y, Z, Stream Stick, the app on your TV, that's what they want you to have. They don't care if you have any of those consoles. They want you to have Game Pass. Like, there was, I think it was 360. With how well even the 360 did, I think there was something, they didn't break even on that console till like a year into the Xbox One generation. Like, consoles are a big fucking spending that they need to front. And if you're not giving those bullet points to entice people to come over, that's where people are upset, because there's no system seller killer app God of War Ragnarok on my thing, and you're just putting everything else on the other place. Xbox doesn't care. If they can make money twice on one game in different places, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, like, they get your money every month, and then they put it on PlayStation, and they get an extra $70 that month from one person. But guess what? Thousands of people are gonna buy it. So yeah, they get an extra burst, and that's still gonna help the game. It's just, it's a different market. But yeah, consoles lose money, and that's why I think you could see Xbox potentially, but we're not getting a disc version potentially next year. Maybe it'll be like Sony, where you could buy it separate, but we're going all digital sooner than people want, I think.
Boo.
So at some point, that's gonna cut cost. So the consoles are gonna probably still be $500, but they're gonna be way beefier without a disc drive. So I don't know. Yeah, consoles lose money. I guess that I lost.
Do you think
where that was going?
The other thing I've seen online is if Xbox did drop out of consoles, do you think Sony would start hardballing everyone and be like, hey, PS6 in 2 years, $700-800, please. Also, games are now 90 or 100. Do you think they would go that far? Because it's the only option now.
It would be hard to, like, just, fight it, right? With, there's only one person in the market, like, yeah, they can do whatever they want. It also is what people are going to pay for. Games blew up, or games with battle passes blew up because people were buying them, and people bought into Fortnite and loved what Fortnite was doing, and it's great. The pricing structure is wild, though. It's $9 is for 1,000 V-Bucks, and then the next option is $26. But it's $1,500 or 1,500 V-Bucks for skins, but you only get 2,800 V-Bucks for spending 20. Like, the monetization is wild. It doesn't make any sense. It's enticing you to have to pay more money.
Yeah,
but
they
it
force
works
you to buy
but
double.
people buy it. So people buy it. So ultimately, if Xbox is in the market, if they're not, either Sony is or they're not. Nintendo is or they're not. It doesn't matter. It's just, what are you going to be willing to pay for? So yeah, if you're buying these games at $70, yeah, they're going to do it. 80, yeah, they're going to do it. If you're going to buy it, they're going to do it. And at some point, we just kind of got to not buy it right away and wait for sales. And I think a lot of people do. A lot of people who talk about games are privileged and get to, or they make it a point to buy all these games right when they come out, or try to cover it, or just try to be in the know of it. But that's not everyone, right?
No. And gaming's an expensive hobby. Like, not as much as some things, but you have a couple $100 entry with the box, and then accessories and games and controllers, and it's a lot of people, they are stuck picking one or the other side.
And we're at the point right now, like I think I tweeted this too. I can buy a phone, a controller, and I could play a shit ton of Xbox first-party exclusives from their whole history, right? I don't need to buy a console. I can just do that on my phone, and anyone can. So I think their strategy is very clear of what they're doing. And I think games are going to end up everywhere, but they still are going to give you a reason to buy an Xbox. That's not going away.
One could hope, because I hope this business thing they're doing next week, I hope to God that's Monday. Because if I have to go another 7 days of just end of the world shit on Twitter, I'm out. I'm peacing out. Goodbye.
I hope this whole thing is like we get so many answers, but they don't answer the questions that everyone wants to know. Because they don't need to. Because they already were very clear. It's a case by case basis.
Yeah.
And then but people no but yeah, but specifically what?
But what is case by case? Like what are the factors they look at type thing?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you apply to work for the company, everybody. If you want to get that in the know. You just gotta kinda it's a giant corporation that has to make money, and yeah, people get too attached to it. We're not their friends and they're not ours. But we can love what they do and they could appreciate people who like what they do.
Yeah, support them left and right. But it's Microsoft at the end of the day.
The most valuable company in the world. They overpassed Apple.
Yeah, they're not.
But yes, the most valuable company in the world is going to just drop off a huge arm of their portfolio. Mm-hmm.
Xbox Insider #1 is not their best friend that they have Sunday dinners with. Like,
yeah.
It's a weird time. I hope it's Monday. I'd get it over with, get it out of the way. I tweeted too, and I don't know how you feel right now, but it's Hellblade's out in what, 2.5 months now? I'm not even excited for stuff right now because I'm just so worn out from this conversation and the future. Like, I want to get back to games and supporting people and talking about cool shit.
Yeah. No, that's Xbox has been in a loop, it seems, of just not being able. It feels like they keep shooting themselves in the foot, but I don't think that fully is what's happening. I think internet with Starfield being exclusive to now the newest issue that's happening, scandal, that's what I was looking for. It's internet, it's Twitter, and anyone who pays on Twitter can have their voice boosted. And then if you get a couple people, all of a sudden hundreds and thousands and potentially millions of eyes are on your little thing, and then no one knows who you are, and no one can really know if you are valuable. Not valuable, everyone's valuable, but if you are a trustable source, right? Or if you're just talking out of your ass, you can't tell on Twitter anymore.
No.
And I think that's a huge part of this. I think that's such a huge part of this, is that the information is all just, we're all equal, and it's like, hold on, not everyone has the best intentions. Mm-hmm. Not everyone can be equal in a platform where we can't know. So I think that's why we're seeing this even explode more so. But it is tiring. But there's so much cool going on. We do have Hellblade coming up. That's finally coming out, and I'm enjoying the games I'm playing. So I can't wait for this meeting, and it's a meeting that is clear. Like, oh, you guys were always going to talk about this, huh? We're all a little silly for freaking out.
Yeah. Sorry. I can't wait to see everyone backtrack immediately and be like, oh, I've been supporting this whole time, and I knew it was just a ruse and working people up.
Yeah, and then we're going to get no, you said this, here's the receipt.
God.
And it's going to be that game. And then you just sit back and watch, and you're just like, this is funny. But
we will see.
We'll see. Do you plan on playing anything this week?
Maybe. I was thinking finishing Jusant, again, small game. I tweeted out to possibly some Sea of Thieves. I haven't jumped into the new season yet, and I keep seeing people talk about really cool stuff behind the scenes. So maybe jump into that finally. And then, yeah, and that's probably it, because we got Super Bowl Sunday. We have a semi-tradition of going to the old restaurant we used to work at and watching. So go watch that. Hopefully watch Kermit the Frog lose.
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah, we're on the same page.
49ers? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't want the Chiefs. No. Though I will say I am fully on board with the Taylor Swift, Kelsey love story.
Do you think?
Love them.
Do you think the question gets popped?
I hate that he plays. No, because her whole life is in the public, and I think he knows to not have such an intimate moment in public like that. However, he is an ass, and I think he would fake it to mess with people. I feel like he would go down to a knee as soon as she walks up and just tie a shoe. But I don't think he
pull out the Super Bowl ring.
And if he does, then wow, guys, she might be a psyop from the CIA. I don't actually.
It's definitely a psyop. What are you playing this weekend? More Elden Ring? More getting some more Halo in?
Yeah. Hoping to do more Elden Ring, and I probably should play more Halo, but no, that's definitely it. Definitely Halo. No, definitely Elden Ring. So we'll see.
We need to set up some Sea of Thieves time.
We definitely do, because I've only played that game solo, with one friend for an hour over really shitty internet, and then with my wife who got seasick and just she couldn't. The boat was moving too much.
Oh, see, and that's where
really funny.
There's so many good starting points now. I don't know whenever you played, but like when I got Caitlin into it, that's where I started her on. Then was Pirates, and we just did those stories, and that was it. That's all she's done. And now we've done like the Monkey Island one, but
yeah, I don't think I finished the Tall Tales for Pirates because I just didn't. But man, I loved it. It's just like the music. I love it.
So good. But that was episode 11. Bleep bloop. Episode 12 sometime next week. Hopefully better news, brighter skies.
Oh, we get to talk about everything that they tell us. It's going to be exciting. Either way, it's exciting.
We get to talk about how much we're selling our Xboxes for afterwards.
I'm not selling my Xbox.
I tweeted it.
I got Game Pass. It's so great.
Yeah. Some guy already went in and like sold his collection to GameStop. If you're planning on doing that, if you're one of those guys on Twitter, hit me up. I'll fill up my Xbox physical collection. I'll buy that off you. No need to take it to GameStop.
You will still give them more than GameStop would give them.
I will.
And you'll still save thousands of dollars.
I'm the physical guy. I want them.
That's fair. I got too much stuff.
Till then, we will talk to you guys next week. Goodbye.